Part 1. A Royal Problem. The golden spires of the capital city of Zytherian pierced the lavender sky, casting long shadows across the crystal plains as the twin suns began their descent. Inside the shimmering walls of the grand celestial palace, the air was heavy with tension, though the perfumed halls betrayed nothing to the servants scurrying about. Princess Viraya of the House of Altheron sat on a levitating settee, her violet eyes blazing with indignation. "Mom, why do I have to marry a human?" she yelled, her voice echoing across the polished obsidian chamber. Queen Zenora, supreme ruler of Zytherian and matriarch of the galaxy's most revered alien race, stared at her daughter calmly from her throne of iridescent alloys. Her own eyes, aged yet piercing, met Viraya's glare without flinching. She tapped her ceremonial scepter twice on the floor, and the chamber sealed with a hiss, ensuring no eavesdroppers remained. "It is not a matter of choice, Viraya. It is diplomacy. The Terran Accord demands a union to solidify peace between Earth and Zytherian." Viraya sprang to her feet, her dress of woven starlight rippling around her. "You're treating me like a pawn. I'm not some bargaining chip in a galactic treaty." "You are royalty," Zenora said simply. "And with royalty comes duty." Viraya paced in agitation. "So that's it. You're marrying me off to some monkey-skulled Earth boy because their government is afraid of our technology." Zenora raised an eyebrow. "Be careful, daughter. Arrogance blinds even the most brilliant. The humans may lack telepathic synthesis and quantum perception, but they possess something we do not." "And what is that?" Viraya snapped. "Unpredictability," her mother answered. Part 2. The Earthborn Betrothed. His name was Jason Miles. 22 years old, born in a city called Toronto, on the third planet from the sun. He was a graduate of something called a Polytechnic University, and his current role was a low-level tech liaison in Earth's interplanetary embassy on Mars. He liked music with instruments made of wood, drank bitter bean juice called coffee, and had no noble blood. In other words, Viraya thought, he was utterly beneath her. The first meeting was held on a neutral orbital station hovering over Titan. Viraya entered the chamber first, flanked by her advisors and guards. Jason arrived moments later, clad in a stiff formal Earth uniform, which he kept tugging at uncomfortably. His brown hair was tousled, his skin pale from Earth's weak sun, and his expression, annoyingly, was amused. "So," he said, sticking out his hand, "I'm Jason. You must be the angry space princess I've heard so much about." Viraya blinked, then narrowed her eyes. "You presume much for someone with such primitive genes." Jason grinned. "Yeah, I read the pamphlets. You guys think pretty highly of yourselves. It's not a matter of belief. It's fact. And yet here we are," Jason said, turning to the Zytherian guards with mock grandeur. "Betrothed. Base engaged. Galactic in-laws pending." Viraya considered vaporizing him on the spot. Part 3. Enemies and Entanglements. The ceremony was scheduled for one Zytherian cycle, roughly 5 Earth weeks, from the engagement. Viraya returned to Zytherian with a mind spinning with questions. Jason wasn't just annoying. He was unpredictable, exactly as her mother had warned. He joked during serious diplomatic dinners, asked inconvenient questions about Zytherian ethics, and had once snuck out to explore the capital's undercity without an escort. "You're going to get yourself killed," Viraya snapped after dragging him back from the slums. "I'm trying to learn, V," Jason shot back. "Your people act like they're perfect, but I've already seen 3 different classes of citizens in just 2 days. Doesn't sound like utopia to me." She hated that he was right. And she hated how the nickname V sounded oddly natural coming from him. But their bickering masked deeper problems. Zytherian's High Council was split. Half believed the Terran alliance would weaken their race. The other half wanted to exploit Earth's political instability to gain economic power. Behind Virea's back, whispers stirred of rebellion, of assassinations that could reset the future. The first attempt came during a diplomatic banquet. A sonic disruptor was smuggled into the dining chamber by a servant drone. Jason noticed it, somehow, moments before detonation. He tackled Virea mid-toast, sending the goblet of gluine nectar flying, just as the disruptor imploded the table behind her. The blast was contained, but several dignitaries were injured. Virea's own father, the king consort, suffered minor burns. Jason emerged with a bloodied arm and a wild grin. "Guess we're even now, huh?" Virea's feelings began to change. Part 4. Uncovering the truth. The attack accelerated everything. The wedding was postponed for security reasons, but Virea knew better. Someone in the council wanted war, not peace. And if they couldn't kill the human, they'd assassinate the idea of unity. She and Jason began investigating quietly, pretending to be absorbed in their cultural integration. Jason's earthborn curiosity made him a perfect partner in espionage. They uncovered encrypted transmissions between a radical faction of Zytherian generals and a rogue Earth syndicate called the Carbon Chain. The plan was devastating. Orchestrate a second attack, pin it on Earth extremists, and force Zytherian to retaliate. "The wedding's just a distraction," Jason muttered, eyes scanning the intercepted data on his holopad. "They're going to blow up the Peace Spire during your Unity ceremony." "My mother will be there," Virea whispered. "The Council, the Terran ambassador. It would destroy everything." Jason looked at her, his face suddenly serious. "Then we stop it." Part 5. Battle on the Spire. The Unity ceremony was moved to the uppermost platform of the Peace Spire, a tower so tall it kissed the atmosphere. Guests from 100 systems attended. Jason wore Zytherian ceremonial armor, a sleek obsidian suit lined with biosynthetic fibers. Virea, in a radiant gown of shifting stars, walked beside him, pretending everything was normal. But she felt the bomb. Her telepathic senses tingled. A void in the air. False resonance. "The altar's wrong," she whispered to Jason. "There's a magnetic core beneath it." Jason nodded. "You distract the crowd." "I'll go." "Jason, no. If it goes off, then you'll owe me 2 favors," he said, grinning. Virea leapt into action, raising her voice to draw attention to a fake dispute between ambassadors. The crowd buzzed, distracted. Jason slipped beneath the platform and crawled into the maintenance hatch. Time was short. The bomb was a graviton destabilizer, wired to detonate when Virea and Jason's hands touched on the altar. A symbolic moment turned literal death. Jason cut the power link with a plasma scalpel just in time. When he emerged, smoke-stained and coughing, Virea ran to him. "You reckless, idiotic." "Hey, 3rd time saving you," he wheezed. "Starting to think you owe me more than a favor." Part 6. Choosing her own fate. The culprits were arrested. The Council purged the conspirators. Earth and Zytherian signed the Terran Accord, without the need for a binding marriage. The alliance stood on trust, forged not through tradition but shared sacrifice. "You don't have to go through with it," Zenora told her daughter in private. "You did your duty. You're free now."